Can you guess what we're going to be learning about today? Here's a hint. More and more of us are starting to feel nervous when our cell phone rings, and especially if we have a job that requires us to talk on the phone. This is even more true when you know the call is going to be in English, a language that you might still be learning. The surest method for natural, confident, and professional phone conversations is a little preparation. Tip number 1. Write down what you want to talk about first. Try to write some notes on what the call will be about and what information you need to get from it. Just a few short sentences will be perfect. Include some whole phrases that you can use and check them on Google Translate. Better yet, run them by a native English speaker or a friend to make sure that you're 100% confident in your translations. Tip number 2, rehearse the phone call beforehand. If your phone call is really important, it's a good idea to practice it with a friend who speaks English fluently before the real thing. If you're preparing for a phone interview or a sales call with a client, or perhaps it's your attorney or a friend you haven't spoken to in a long time, it's certainly worthwhile to spend some time role-playing with an English native speaker. You can even try booking a lesson with an English tutor to get some expert feedback. Number 3, start off with some small talk. It's great to start off any professional or casual phone conversation with a little bit of small talk. This will make the person that you're talking to feel comfortable and feel more friendly. You can start the call off in a friendly way and then segue into the professional parts. If you don't know the speaker very well, try some phrases like, "Hi, how are you doing today? How's the weather where you are? How's your week going?" If you have met the speaker before, then you can be a little bit more personal and link the small talk to something that you know about them. "Hi, Charlie. How are the kids? How was your vacation?" Those are great ways to make the person that you're talking to feel more comfortable and looser for your conversation. Tip number 4, state your purpose in calling clearly. After you have set a friendly tone for your call, it's time to get down to business. Be very clear with the reason for your call, and it will be easy to get the information that you need. Try starting off with one of these phrases. "Hi, I'm just calling to ask about blank. I'm wondering if you could help me with something. Thanks for taking the time to speak with me. I have a question for you about blank." Let's go over those one more time. Number 1, I'm just calling to ask blank. I wondered if you could help me with something. Thanks for taking the time to speak with me. I have a question for you about blank. Number 5, remember good manners. When learning a new language, most people prefer to speak in short, direct sentences so that they are more easily understood. This is a very good idea and helps you avoid mistakes. However, sometimes short directness can sometimes seem rude over the phone. The speaker cannot see your friendly face or your body language as they would if they were speaking with you face to face. There are a few easy ways to sound more polite and professional on phone calls. Ask questions in a very polite way. You can use "could you" and "would you please," plus a simple verb. For instance, "Can you write that report?" That sounds less formal than "Can you please write that report?" If it feels appropriate, remember to thank the speaker for talking to you. Be sure to conclude with a friendly sentence that rounds the conversation off as you would a friendly letter. This could be something like, I hope you have a really good weekend. It was great talking to you. I'm looking forward to working with you again soon. Number 6, focus on pronouncing your words clearly. We all know someone who has a special telephone voice and changes their accent and their verbiage dramatically for telephone conversations. Changing your voice entirely for phone conversations is, of course, not necessary, but it is important to speak clearly. If you need to spell things out over the phone, the name of a specific product or client, for example, it can be useful to use the NATO phonetic alphabet. This is a commonly used set of words developed for clear communication on search and rescue helicopter missions. To spell things out, you substitute each letter for the NATO word. For example, dog would become D for Delta, O for Oscar, and G for golf. If you're spelling something out that's longer, you would say, I'm going to spell it out for you. Tip number 7, try to listen as much as you talk. You're really focusing on producing grammatically correct sentences in a new language, watching your accent and making an effort to seem polite. That's a lot of things to remember. It might be easy to forget the most important rule of any good conversation: listening as much as you talk. You can show that you're listening by cutting into the conversation with some signifiers, such as, oh, that's interesting. Great point. Yes. I understand. If you need the speaker to repeat something, it's perfectly fine to ask them to go over something. You could ask, sorry, could you repeat that, please? Sorry, I got cut off for a second. Can you say that again? Could you say that again a little more slowly, please? Could you repeat that a little more slowly? If the conversation is fairly long and you need to remember some key points in it, it's a good idea to have a notebook and to take some short notes on what the speaker is saying. This will help you remember to ask any follow-up questions that you need. Number 8, control your surroundings if possible. If you are able to, make sure that you're in a private and quiet place with a good signal during any important phone call. Speaking in a second language on the phone is hard enough without added distractions, technical issues, or car horns blaring in the background. I would much rather be speaking on the phone here than here. Hello? These skills might seem like they only apply to business phone calls, but a lot of these skills can also be used when speaking casually on the phone to friends, family, or acquaintances. What other tips do you have for your fellow students? Leave them in the comments down below, and you never know who you could be helping out. Thanks so much for coming to today's class. See you next time.